Hello. Welcome back to ABI-DOS. Last episode we beat Key Generator. I don't think I managed to make any improvements off camera. So yeah, it's still this shape. Alright, this episode we're moving on to the next puzzle before being forced to do something else. But yeah, we can still do file sorter, so let's get that cleared while we're at it. The last puzzle 46, I think the count does not include these green puzzles, which means that we're going to have to beat a secret level. Again, I think I've said this before, but it's a secret level in the screensaver is what I believe that means. So yeah, there's a secret level in here, so we're gonna have to resolve that. Anyway, that's not really the point. Let's try and beat file sorter now, I guess. Yeah, alright. Okay. This program organizes files based on the name and size. Oh yeah, okay, name and size. So we have A, B, D, G, G, and then the end of the thing. Okay. Wow, what? S0 provides a sequence of pairs between 2 to 10 pairs, each containing a letter and a size. Yeah. Each sequence ends with a hash symbol. Sort the pairs first by a letter in ascending order. If multiple pairs have the same letter, sort these by size in ascending order. Ties may occur in both letter and size, in which case we don't actually need to bother. Interesting. Okay. I thought we've seen these sorting algorithms like a lot in the past, but this looks new, I guess. So yeah, the first line already gives us basically what we're looking for in terms of examples. We have file B, D, G, G, and A here. So to sort them, we must first sort by letter. So the A file goes first, then the B file, then the D file, then the two G files. As for the G files, they are then sorted by size, so basically how much they are filled up. I believe the more they are filled up, the greater their value. So yeah, this is 160 and then this is 166. So yeah, the 166 is clearly larger than 160, which means that it is larger in size and therefore is put second after the smaller file. So yeah, this would be A, B, D, and then the smaller g, then the bigger g. It also appears that the line always ends at the end of a... It always ends with a hash symbol, but there's a bunch of dotteds as well, which I suppose is interesting. Well, yeah, the output also requires a hash symbols actually, so whatever hash symbols come out, they just get thrown into the output, I think is the point. Yeah, can I move this around? No. There's always a line here that does something. I don't know what this line is for. What does that line represent? No idea. Okay, so... let's see, how will we do this? So yeah, there's no like figuring out the end of the sequence because the hashes will always go to the end anyway. So the problem is that we need to sort up to 10 pairs. Sort. There has been one sorting puzzle before. One, I think. And that would be somewhere... where is the sorter? I feel like I've seen a sorter before. I don't remember exactly when we made the sorter, but is it the sort file checker? No. This was the to see if something is in order or not. But this only checks if they're in ascending order, but does not rearrange them to be in ascending order. There was one that did do all the rearranging. Crap. What was it? I have to go look for it again. Is it Q controller? No. Q controller was very streamlined. I know my solution was not streamlined at all. Crap, what is it? It's not a rotator, is it? No, rotator was a very interesting one. Assembler was wrong. Merger? Yes, merger was the one. So in merger, we had to merge the two files and then sort by value. Okay. But the problem is that this allows us to basically loop back to the start. We have this thing that... what is this? Is this thing? A pointer writer, yeah, that sets the position of the pointer back to this value, which is 0. It always sets the position back to 0. So here we are given the liberty of being able to send the pointer back to the start to reread everything. So basically we pull out all the 166s, then pull out all the 165s, and all the 164s, and so on, which allows us to sort in general, right? But obviously that's not going to be the case here, because in here it's explicitly not allowed to move the pointer around. We have to read the pointer one by one. So I think it really is to pull out 10 slots. 10 slots? Do we have 10 pairs? Where in the world are we getting 10 pairs from? Oh yeah, so a line like this. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This one has 10 pairs. This row, starting that row, has 10 pairs in it. But then how do we sort? If we laid out all 10 pairs, I guess the idea is to but by sorting we need a comparison, right? We need a comparison. So what's the most efficient way of sorting this? I suppose A, B, C, D, E, and F. What's the range that we'll get? A letter and the size. Do we get only small letters? The question. It looks like we only get small letters. We only get like A to G, or in this case up to J, I guess, if you have 10 pairs, but they're all. So will they all be small letters? I mean, does it matter if they're all small letters? Could I make a system that works for all letters? I wish I had 26, but maybe I can make it for even more than all letters, right? Okay, it looks like it's all small letters so far. I haven't seen a single like H, in fact. But that doesn't really tell us anything. I suppose one way I can do it is I can grab the pairs, then read for the file A, then read for file B, then read for file C. And then we'll do the same thing for all values up to a certain value, or until everything is cleared. How do I even test for that? I don't know. Okay. Yeah, no pointer movement definitely feels like I'm forced to write. Definitely feels like I'm forced to write here. Okay, well, I suppose we can start by maybe just pulling out everything that has the... yeah, pull out everything. Okay, so I want to pull out all the pairs, and then I want to stop at the hash. So I'll definitely need maybe a red color sensor that throws away the red. Like that. The red doesn't get thrown away, rather it really just gets held in place until it is ready to be... until everything else is sorted. Yeah. Okay. I don't really want to shove that in the corner. Let's do this for now. So yeah, the way I could do this is... How would I do this? I mean, if we went back to the previous level, how the key generator worked is it pulled out an entire sequence of values. Of course, it can do that because we know every sequence is 11 digits long. In this case, we don't know that. We know that every sequence is either not 11, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. It's 14 or 28 long, but we don't know which. But we shouldn't do that. We should not do that. Although I'm thinking it might be cool if we did. But like, it's entirely possible you hold a lot of digits here. Like this third row, I think this is the maximum number of dots that can be held. That should be held. Which shouldn't happen, really. I'm wondering if for example I had something that looked like this, and then I had an X that drew out two things in sequence, would they keep drawing out pairs? It would keep drawing out pairs. The hashtag would actually not really work though. Oh. Okay. Yeah, the hashtag really wouldn't work out. So maybe we need a duplicating thing again. I feel like the duplicating thing has been very useful thus far. How the duplicating thing works is that the duplicator basically allows things to be checked instantaneously. That is, it can check the thing that it's currently on. Like, it can do this. Yeah. But I think I want to only let white through here, which means I need a check for white that is negative. So a white check should activate this and let through, like this, yeah. So if anything blue or red goes in, blue or red is just held in there. Yeah, that looks right. Of course, we don't hold all of them, we don't throw them all away. Like one stream will have to be the one that pulls everything into the output. But we'll probably do that by, I don't know, just holding things, I guess. The fact that we hold pairs though means that there will always be a hashtag followed by a ellipses, which is a little bit awkward to carry two things. Okay. But suppose this were to happen, are we actually going to split these up into pairs? Like, is there any way to get these sorted if we just test one by one? Like, if the first tested against the second, and like, let's say we picked out the larger value. No, I don't think it's possible. At all. Like, also, we also need to work on testing for the file size, which is another step that I have to worry about. Do I really hold 10 things? There's no way I hold 10 things, right? I mean, it's entirely possible. I think we've made it before. We've made things... but 10 pairs... 10 pairs is challenging, if anything. I'm very, very hesitant on it, is all I'm saying. Okay... I don't know. I don't think we hold 10 things here, but how else are we going to sort this out? Yeah, I have no idea what's going on. Okay. I'm thinking like really hard right now. How do I... okay, how do I... Yeah, I have no idea what's going on. I think I'm gonna have to like think really hard about this. Because what? A is 100. A is 100. It's basically a zero of letters. Why didn't they just put zero? Why did it go so high? You could think about it like a zero. Maybe I isolate these values from each other. Maybe I isolate all of these guys. But they still need to be paired with each other. Like the B has to be paired with this value, like regardless, right? How does the sorting work? How does the sorting work? What? I don't know. I feel like I'm supposed to spot a certain pattern with these. Like, alright, let's just think about these as numbers rather than symbols. Like, let's say A is 0, B is 1, D will be 3, G will be 6, yeah. Then these guys would also be a certain value, right? Like, based on how full they are. 154, 156. There's a 158 somewhere. Somewhere. Actually, I can probably use debug mode to spot one. There's a 158 somewhere, maybe. I don't know where it is, but we have a 154, then we have 156. So I'm guessing there has to be a 158 somewhere. Unless there's not. Why not? Why does 158 not exist? Then yeah, there's 160. Which, you know, should be somewhere. 160, 162. Apparently 164 doesn't really exist either, but then 166 does exist, which is here. So my question is, why doesn't 166 or why doesn't 164 or 158 exist? That's actually a really good question. Why not? What happened to them? It's like in the very start, like when we did pause coordinator, something also weird, something really weird also happened. It was all multiples of 4. Like this is 4, 144, 154, 158. There is 158 here. What the heck? Oh, okay. 154, 158, 162, and then 166. So there are really only 4 values here, right? But as for this, that's more values, but some values are deliberately not in here. Like for some reason, 158 isn't here. I haven't found a single 158 anywhere here, which is really weird to me. But 158 does exist and is actually a bar value. So like a bar of a certain amount has 158. I guess it might be a simplified version where they just don't include it. But it doesn't really make sense to include any other value then. Why is it so specifically that 158 and 164 are removed? Why is every other bar value allowed? Is it just for ease of seeing? 154, 156, 160, 162, and 166, they all exist. In fact, this first row basically just dictates every possible bar value. The other bar values just don't exist. Is it ever stated here? No. I don't think it's stated anywhere. No, I don't think so. Oh yeah, you can see an actual tie here. This is F with 156. Another F, another 156. In which case it doesn't really matter. But I suppose we can mark every one of these as like how many above 154 it is. So like this value is technically a 0. This value is technically a 2. This value is technically a 6. And then we have 8 here, and we have 12 here. So 4 and 10 don't exist in this system, I guess. Which is weird, because why don't they? I don't know why they wouldn't, but let's just assume that all numbers occur equally for now. It's just a weird quirk that they don't include 4 and 10. I don't think we really should have recognized that 4 and 10 doesn't exist. I'm not sure how it would be relevant. If we knew that 4 and 10 didn't exist in this system, could we exploit that? I'm not sure. And also, it's still an assumption. I'm not entirely sure if those don't exist or they just haven't shown up at all, but will randomly show up somewhere in a later test case. Okay. If we can reduce each of these values down to numbers, can we do anything with them? Will an operation allow us to combine them into one value? That would be really interesting, but would that help? Like, suppose I added them together. Is there a reason why we should add them together? No, because you could have like this A plus this would what? It would be equal to B plus this. Right? Unless we made the margin significant enough that A plus... Unless we made the margin significant enough such that A plus this value is always smaller than B plus anything. Then we can add them together. And yeah, so yeah, okay. So if we had A be a certain value, and that A plus the bar, regardless, will always be smaller than B plus any bar, then whatever value is in that range, A will... I feel like I'm just doing the exact same thing though, right? Let me think about this. Yeah, I mean, I'm doing the exact same thing. Okay, so we've tried this before, haven't we? In the exact place that I thought I had to use this. Where was it? Keyfinder. Wait, was it Keyfinder? It was a big loop. One of my attempts was to create a very, very big loop. Oh my goodness, this has so many attempts. Oh, this doesn't fail, but there was one that was a really big loop. Yeah, this one. The goal was to hold this in, see if I can like, jeez, okay. How far do we go with this? The goal is to hold things in a very, very big loop. And basically pull them out when required. Is that what I want to do here? Could that be what we want to do here? Maybe. But the thing is, if we simply held these together, like let's say the two G's were there, whichever came first would just be pulled out. Like if we were to look for an A, we will pull out the A. Then we look for a B and we pull out the B. Then we look for D and then pull out the D. But then, if we pull out the G's, we will pull out whatever came first, right? Which would mean what? Which would mean whichever happened to be pulled out first will get sent in first. Even though it's possible that this 166 gets pulled out first, it would not be correct. This one will have to be pulled out first. But the order is random, so we can't say anything about what should get pulled out first, because we don't know. Should there be a second check then? We know that every letter will never correspond with a bar, like their values will never be the same. So perhaps we simply need to search each letter. Yeah, okay, so it's two checks. One check searches every letter first, and pulls every instance of that letter into a loop. The second loop checks the bar and then orders the bars. Okay, so it's a double system. It pulls all values out. Okay, let's give an example. So let's take this row as an example. It's long enough that we can take this row as an example. We pull all of A out first. That will be A with a full bar here. And then when all the A's are pulled out, we then check through all of those instances, of which there are only one in this case, and we pull out in ascending order, like how we would do with the letters. Then we do the same with B, with C, and then with E. And then with F, it gets interesting because we have F here, and then F here. So we have three Fs. All three Fs we pulled into the second check at the same time when we check for F. Then we will then check for the bar. So we will check for 154 first. Then we check for 156, then 158, which doesn't exist, but we'll assume it does. Then 160, then 162, then 164, then 166. And then we'll slowly pull out in that value. Okay, so we have two chambers. And we need to hold up to 10 in both of them. So we need a loop of 20. And like in Key Finder, we need to time it just right. Okay. So okay. But the problem is that because of how this works, every loop is every beat is 3 long. We need a loop of 30 in this case, which is a little harder than expected. Like, how much space do we have here? Can we afford 60 cells of space to hold this? Or do we have to merge them in some way to take up less space? And if we do merge them up somehow, can we retrieve the information? I mean, yeah, if we made it so that all A bar values are less than B bar values. So we have A with 154, A with 156, A with 158, A with 160. We had them all, then B, yeah, okay. So we need to have all letters merge with their bar values in such a way that B is so 4. Yeah. Okay, I think 14 is really important here.